pirate radio ship from the North Sea is now moored off the Essex coast after being escorted in by Department of Trade officials. The ship, Laser 558, had suffered a power failure. The government had been trying to stop supplies reaching the crew as part of its campaign against pirate radio stations.
Radio Laser is off the air and its buccaneering days on the high seas over. She's being escorted into Harwich by a British government ship, which has tried for months to silence the pirates. Radio Laser lost all electrical power in last night's storm and had to turn to the government ship for help.
Laser 558, where you're never more than a minute away from music.
Radio Laser's American disc jockeys have been blasting pop music at millions of European listeners for 18 months. It's against British law to advertise or supply the ship. And for the past few months, a government ship has blockaded the pirates to make sure no one did.
We are Laser 558, playing you all the hits all of the time.
Radio Laser is now off the airwaves, but their neighbour, Radio Caroline, is still afloat off the Essex coast. The ship has been churning out pop music off and on for 21 years. She shows no sign of giving up, although some of her British suppliers have recently been in court and fined £500 each. Not long ago, Radio Caroline's freezers were packed with food, but the government will now hope that with Laser out of the way, Caroline will not have long to go.
Most popular pirate radio stations has gone off the air. Laser 558 had been operating from a ship in the North Sea for 18 months, but they had to send out a mayday call after developing electrical trouble in last night's heavy seas. They were escorted into Harwich Harbour by the government ship, which had been trying to stop Laser getting supplies from the mainland.
Radio Laser's buccaneering days on the high seas are over, and it was a British government ship who brought the renegade in, along with a helicopter and police launches. Radio Laser went off the air last night after a North Sea storm sabotaged her electrical power. In the end, she was rescued by the government ship which had tried to scuttle her from the airwaves. Tonight, the pirate ship, which used to carry cattle up the English coast, put into Harwich. A phalanx of police and customs men then set off for the ship to interview the disc jockeys and crew. It seems that on Laser tonight, they'll have to face music of a different kind as the investigators try to find out who did what.
Laser 558, where you're never more than a minute away from music.
Radio Laser's American disc jockeys have been blasting pop music at millions of European listeners for 18 months. It's against British law to advertise or supply Radio Laser, and for the past few months, a government ship has blockaded the pirates to make sure no one did.
We are Laser 558, playing you all the hits all of the time.
With Radio Laser scuttled, the pirate airwaves are now ruled by Radio Caroline. She's been putting out pop for 21 years off and on. She sounds strong, but her end could be near as well.
Talks drop anchor a mile offshore. The captain's been answering questions from the police and inspectors from the Department of Trade and Industry. There were 11 people with her when she anchored, 7 Americans and 4 Britons who are still on board. She accepted help from a DTI boat in raising her anchor, and the government say they may charge the owners for that service and refuse her permission to leave until they pay. A man was killed today
after a complete power failure. The ship has been broadcasting to Britain and Western Europe from the North Sea for 18 months. Essex police will interview the crew members when they come ashore.
From Sheerness and Margate today, when Radio Caroline's pirate ship started drifting off the east coast. The Ross Revenge broke loose in a gale after its engines failed, but the Coast Guard say the ship's crew have now...
Radio ship Radio Caroline is back at anchor after drifting in a gale in the North Sea. The 11-man crew of the 1,000-ton converted fishing trawler Ross Revenge put out a distress call at 3 this morning, and Margate and Sheerness lifeboats were launched. The station's off the air while repairs are being carried out. Now the